Well, hello to you today. Good morning. Dolores Jones, your comeback coach, is here, and I am thinking about you. One of the things I wanted to remind you about today is that there are 5 types of people that you cannot help. So therefore, I'm going to help you save some of your time, your energy, and even your money. Frederick Douglass once said, "Why help a man stand on his feet if he doesn't have enough gumption to lock his knees? When you let him go, his head will hit the pavement." Ouch. That sounds painful. But let me tell you what else is very painful. What's painful is when you spend your time speaking and talking to people, giving out your energy, giving your best stuff to them. And for what? For them to come up with as many excuses as they can think of. Listen, it's a full-time job trying to change yourself. So as you move forward to better yourself, you have to be very, very selective on who or whom you're going to spend your time with. Not everybody is deserving of your time. And let me say this, sometimes it's your family. Oh yeah, I know that's hard to believe because we go around and we say things like, blood is thicker than water. And I get that. But also responsibility is something that we all must grab hold of. One of the type of people you cannot help, and I'm going to give you at least 5. Number 1, they're not willing to help themselves. I'm going to tell you this story. I was on 18th and Vine a couple of years ago. It was very cold outside, like wintertime. And I noticed this young, single African-American young woman holding a baby. And the baby was out in the cold. And it was freezing. So, of course, I stopped and I said, "Sweetheart, what's going on?" And she began to tell me about she had a fight with somebody at her house. And so she left. The baby didn't have shoes. The baby had no socks on. And listen. I said, "Well, I tell you what, get in the car. I'm going to take you out here to Walmart." And she said, "Well, before we go to Walmart, can we pick up my brother?" And I said, "Your brother?" "Well, yeah, he hasn't had anything to eat either." And I said, "Okay." When I pull up to pick up the young man, he's grown. I don't ask questions. I just said, "Okay, Lord, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this sacrifice." So we go all the way to Walmart, which is completely out of my way. I'm buying Pampers and diapers and what do you call it? Wet wipes. And then I just got excited. I bought the little girl some clothes. I bought her some shoes, some sippy cups, a comb, a brush. I wanted to make sure that this little baby girl wasn't going to be sitting somewhere out on the street with her mother again. So then her mother was like, "Well, can you buy me some hair grease?" I said, "Okay." "Well, that's the reason me and my friend had a fight, is because of the hair grease." I said, "Okay." So we go and we get the hair grease. And then she starts trying to pick up other stuff. And I said, whoa, wait a minute now. No. This isn't a shopping spree. So afterwards, we left Walmart and we stopped to grab some food. And so I'm ordering the food and she wants me to double the amount of food that I was willing to pay for with her brother. And I said, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to do that." So I dropped him off at home. She seems very appreciative. I gave her my number because I have a soft spot for single moms. Of course I do. My mom was a single mom. She was 15 when she had me. So I understand that. Well, the very next day, I get a call and it's from her. And she's telling me that she has an emergency. And I said, "Well, what's the emergency?" "Well, we don't have any food today." "Well, why don't you have food today?" "Because you have food stamps that are coming." "Well, I sold my food stamps." What? I don't understand that. I don't understand how you sell your food stamps when you know you have a child to feed. Now, I get it. Food stamps won't allow you to do several things. But in some cases, why would you sell $50 worth of food stamps for $100? I won't even do that. It just doesn't make logical sense to me. There has to be a better way. So as I'm listening to her story, I'm trying to walk her through the process. Hey, this is what you need to do. Here's a phone number, et cetera, et cetera. Now keep me abreast of what's going on. So the next day she calls me back again. I really need some food tonight because my refrigerator broke. I said, well, then that sounds like something you need to go talk to the manager about. This young lady said something that I thought was completely insane. I can't ask her. Why? Because the manager, she's gay. I said, what does that have to do with you? What does that have to do with you and getting your refrigerator fixed so that you don't spoil all the food that you and your baby need? See, that type of person, you can't help. You just can't. Because for one, they're not grateful. For two, they're trying to find every excuse imaginable to avoid being responsible for their situation. So that's number one. So we're talking about 5 types of people you cannot help. So don't even waste your time. You know, when you speak to a person, when you talk to a person, you are diluting your energy. That means they're taking a part of you. And the most frustrating thing is to spend time trying to help someone who doesn't want to help themselves. Number 2, the other type of person that you don't want to help or you cannot help is they have tons of excuses why they don't put forth the deliberate effort to achieve their goals, their dreams. It's very simple. If I give you a number and I say, call the number, I'll call you back the next day and you tell me why you didn't call the number. Here's the problem. Your priorities are out of whack because you're going to get whatever is important to you. If you're sitting on a phone and you listen to somebody tell you all this BS and all this stuff, but you don't have enough sense to pick up a phone and call and make an appointment to see a case manager who can help you, we have a problem. So anybody who has more excuses than effort, you cannot help them. The third type of person that you cannot help is they know it all. They won't listen to you. You're trying to help them. They interrupt you. I know, because no. I was talking to a relative and I was talking to her. Oh, I already know that. I said, well, listen, if you know so much, then why are you calling me? See, that's rude. They cut you off. They don't want to listen. Why? Because when they start listening, that means maybe I really don't know what I should know. And then they cop an attitude. Number 4, the other type of person you cannot help, they're combative and disrespectful. They have this attitude of entitlement, as if to say, you owe me. You know, my son and I, we had a conversation years ago. I said, listen here, young man, I don't owe you a thing. I don't owe you nothing. The requirement is I put food and clothing, put shelter over your head, food on the table, and clothes and shoes on your feet. They don't have to be name brand anything. In fact, I didn't get down like that, especially when you have this attitude of entitlement. Where they do that at? Wherever you allow them to. You cannot help certain people. You just can't. And number 5, the person who always blames everybody for everything happening to them. They refuse to accept responsibility for the actions and the consequences. You know, I've heard it all before. Well, my mama wasn't there and then my daddy wasn't there. Okay, they weren't there, but you're here. What are you going to do? Well, she would always make fun of me and I was the black sheep of the family. Okay, we have established that. But what's next? What is next? Why waste your time? There are so many resources out there. For example, yesterday I was talking to a young woman and she was telling me about her son. And I said, well, there are these transitional living programs. Well, a transitional living program means you're in a transition. And they have money set aside to house you in an apartment as long as you have goals that you are moving towards. Some of the programs are 90 days. Some of them are 24 months. And I'm not beneath that. I remember my son and I were having our disagreements and I felt it was time for him to move on. So I personally took him to a transitional living program. I sat there. He filled out the application. The lady basically looked it over. She called him for the second interview so that he could move forward and get his own place. But you know what? He didn't want to do it. In fact, I was waiting for them to call back because I knew he was the perfect candidate. And I looked up and a month had passed and 2 months had passed. Now I'm living in a studio apartment and I purposely did that. I purposely did that because sometimes as adults, we are crippling our children, especially when they're very disrespectful. And you don't give them consequences. So they don't think, as your grandmother would say, fat meat is greasy. And it is up to you to decide to do that. And it cannot be one of those things where my family used to. No, this is your house. That is your child. And you are intelligent enough to know that you're not going to just throw them out. And in some cases, when they're disrespectful and they're calling you all kind of names and all this other stuff, they got to go. With or without a police escort. That's just the way it is. So I'm talking to my son and I'm like, well, did you hear from those people? No, Mom, they haven't called. Well, I called them on speakerphone. Oh, Miss Jones, well, he said he couldn't make it. Excuse me? Baby, I turned that car around. I went back home. I said, oh, hell no. You're trying to play me for a fool. The truth of the matter was he wasn't ready to live on his own, but his behavior said otherwise. So what did I do? I helped him move on. He didn't like it, but guess what? At 22 years old, 3 years under his belt living on his own, a newer car, stable, his associate's degree, bilingual, working on his second degree, and living his life. He didn't like it, but it wasn't about him liking it. It was about showing him nobody owes you anything and you will be respectful. At the end of the day, not on my watch, I am not raising a monster. And see, when we don't hold our kids accountable or those that we are responsible for, we're a part of the problem. They call it being an enabler. You see that they're disrespectful or they're coming up with all these excuses and you're saying things like, well, his daddy and I divorced and, you're trying to overcompensate. I did all of that. And thankfully, somebody called me on my stuff. And I remember I bought our house, my first house, and, his dad kept the house. So that meant I had to start over. And I wanted Ricky to have everything that his dad had at the other house. So here I am. My son is 4 years old. I don't have a refrigerator. So I go and buy this PlayStation. A girlfriend of mine comes over, Michelle, and she's like, can I have some cold water? And I was like, well, Michelle, I don't have a refrigerator. And she's looking at me and I'm looking at her. And then we're looking at this game in the floor. I made a stupid mistake. So I called the people and I said, listen, and I was just very straightforward because, sometimes people are like, well, you can't return electronics, baby. It was worth a try. Leland, I called that person. I said, listen, ma'am, I'm a single mother and I was trying to overcompensate and compete with my son's father. We are divorced, but my son does not need a $300 game. We need a refrigerator and I need to bring it back. She said, well, that's not a request we've ever had. And I said, well, talk to whomever you have to. And she said, it'll be a couple of days. And I said, okay. But because I was willing to take that step, and then I started asking people for help, and there was a woman and her husband, they were getting rid of a double door refrigerator. Why? Because they changed the color scheme in their kitchen. And so by the time I humbled myself and got a truck and got some friends, and we went and got that refrigerator, then the people at the game store said, well, bring it back. We understand. And then I used that money to do something else that made sense. Being a parent is not a popularity competition. That in itself is a topic right there. As a parent, this is not about you being popular. This is about you being productive. This is about you raising an intelligent human being. And people they'll always be in their feelings, but you got to teach them how to level up. There are at least 5 types of people you cannot help. And I know, well, I just want to love everybody. You can love everybody all you want to, but some people will kill you. Do you hear me? Countless mothers going back and forth to court, putting their houses, up, mortgaging their houses to get these attorneys for somebody who's going to go back out there and reoffend. And don't let them use a guilt trip on you. Oh, so you're just going to forget about me. But I remember that time I did. Yes, that was that time. This is not now. Preserve your energy to be a part of a community of people. It's collaborative. It's supportive. You all are going in the same direction. There are achievement-driven relationships that you need if you're going somewhere. You know, sometimes some of the celebrities, and you'll hear people, they'll talk about how they had to let their family go in order to go where they're going. And the family gets pissed off and they start selling, stories about them when they were, when they were trifling or what have you. So what? Because at the end of the day, that story is going to fade. And you have outgrown that. So if somebody's still telling you, well, I remember when. Okay, I remember when as well, but I got to go. Well, I remember when you was homeless and I met you and you didn't have nobody. Okay, that is true. But I also now know that you're crazy with a K. So I'm going to have to get on up out of here and go do what I got to do. People that put you down, you can't help them. And don't let them off the hook. If they're saying crazy stuff to you. You know what I mean? Somebody said, you definitely taken the hammer to that nail this morning. Absolutely. And you're wondering why you can't get ahead. Because you're spending time with a knucklehead. Ladies, listen, y'all know I'm always going to give it to you. You know I'm always going to give it to you. I don't have the energy, nor will I accept excuses from a grown man who is not delivering. I don't care who you think doesn't like you. You have unlimited potential. A dog can't be anything but a dog. A tree cannot be anything but a tree. But a human being, you have unlimited potential if you lock into it. Potential, not be but potential. That means you haven't delivered. But it's time for you to deliver. No more sad songs. It breaks my heart when I listen to women and I meet them and they're working 3 and 4 jobs and they got some man that they're laying up under. Baby, who does that? I would rather be alone than be a fool. Well, what? You still married to this knucklehead? He's somewhere living with somebody else? Well, he is my husband. No, he's not. He's a fool. And he's dragging you down. And you teach people how to treat you. You can't help them. I don't care if you told somebody, well, I'm going to be down with you. No. You have a right to change your mind. Your future is in your hands, as Les Brown said this morning. And that means you must work on your mind. You must work on your relationships. You've got to level up your skill set. You have to know more today than you knew yesterday. You have to strengthen yourself from the inside out. You have to say to yourself, I must say no to this. Anybody who doesn't have the same mindset that you have, you got to let them go. Gotta let them go. Let them go. Sounds like a TKO. However you need to do it, baby. Anybody who does not have the same mindset that you have, you must let them go and let them grow. Susan Taylor, who was a former editor-in-chief of Essence magazine, she once said, not everybody is healthy enough to have a front row seat in your life. You got people in the wrong seat because y'all met or because y'all and because you no. You're not healthy enough. Anybody saying crazy stuff to you on the sly, and you know when they say it. This is a serious matter. Your life depends upon this. You are blessed by association. Your life can also be wrecked by association. You're thinking, let me go in this neighborhood and I'm going to help this person. And they talk a good game. And next thing you know, baby, they done pulled you down. Cadillac Willie, pardon me. Cadillac Willie once said to me, Cadillac Willie was this police officer in KCK. He's long gone. But I call myself helping a young man that I saw sitting on the corner in the neighborhood. And the young man, I gave him my time. And I took him to my church. And I thought this was going to be a good thing. And I was, I was just singing. I was like, come on, you can do this. And he was telling me about everything, about everybody else. And he was giving me this sad story. And I was sucker for a sad story. Now, I didn't want him as my man. I just wanted to see him do better. So next thing you know, I helped him get enrolled at Donnelly College, where I was a director of career services. And I made myself available as a tutor. So I was willing to help him with math or whatever else he needed because I wanted to see him succeed. Well, during one of our tutoring sessions, he looked at me and he said, Dolores, does God forgive you for murder? I said, excuse me? Well, can you show me in the Bible where God forgives you for murder? And I said, well, it's in there. Gregory, it's in there. Well, can you show it to me? So I'm flipping through the Bible, but I can't find anything that actually says God forgives you for murder. So I don't think anything else of it. I write it off because, see, I'm just kind of naive. I'm thinking everybody who I want to help won't help. So a couple of days pass. We talk again. He has the same question. Will God forgive you for murder? Okay. So it was the weekend. All of a sudden, he rings my phone. He says, what do you have on? I said, excuse me? Yeah, what do you have on? This young man, some kind of way, had followed me to my apartment, and I didn't know it. And he called me. He was on the outside at my apartment looking. I cut the lights out. I got on the ground. I crawled into the bathroom. It freaked me out. So then when he called, I started praying in the phone. I started binding the devil. The Satan, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. All of a sudden, this young man started saying, stroke my heart, Jesus. Yes, Jesus, stroke my heart. I'm like, this is insane. Once I got off the phone with him, I called the police station. They said, come in the next day and make a police report. So I go down, and that's when I met Cadillac Willie. And he looked at me, he pulled up the guy's name, and he looked at the guy's record. He said, baby, you can't save the devil. That young man was in so much trouble. And then months later, I kid y'all not, months later, I had moved on with my life. I got married. One day I'm looking at the news, and it shows that a man had been murdered. And then the picture that came across the screen was the young man that I had been helping. And when he went away to prison, he was sending letters to the church. I said, oh my God, God, please protect me. See, what looks good like a good opportunity really isn't a good opportunity. Countless women, I've read stories. One in particular was trying to help a former NFL player to get his life together. She followed him to get his life together, and he killed her. I know it's admirable to think that you want to help people, but you have to be very, 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 very selective. You want to look to see what they're doing for themselves. And whenever they show you that they're not going to do anything, you need to move on. The other thing, too, is limit the amount of time. If someone calls me and asks me for help, I'll say, okay, I have about 10 minutes. And within that 10-minute window, I am going to determine whether or not I'm going to give you another 10 minutes. And sometimes it's 5 minutes. And sometimes it's nothing at all. Because I can tell from your conversation, you're not ready. So today, as you move forward, I want you to think about your own level of energy. Are you giving it away? Are you worse off because of who or whom you're trying to assist? Are you making excuses for adults who really need to take responsibility for themselves? Are you housing a grown person because they said it's hard out here? Yeah, it is hard out here. So level up. As Sierra says, level up, level up, level up. I had to level up as a single mother. I had to level up when I worked and paid 2 car notes. I had to level up when I paid a house note. I had to level up when I caught the bus. I had to level up when I went and got those food stamps as well. I had to level up every time I sat in class on the weekend, and I didn't want to. Why? Because I wanted something better for my life and for my son. Now, I'm not fussing. I'm just telling you like it is, or as somebody said, like a TI is, like it is. Today, some of you need to make some better decisions and choices. Remember, you cannot help a person who is not willing to help themselves. And don't be a sucker for a sad story. nor fall for the guilt trip. People know how to push your buttons. They think they got the combination. You need to change the lock, baby. Sometimes the lock on your door. Change the combination. Change conversations. Change relationships. And most importantly, learn to change your mind. You deserve a U-turn. If you get lost and it's a dead end, make a U-turn. And guess what? You're not the only person that's made a U-turn, and you definitely will not be the last. I'm Dolores Jones, your comeback coach, showing you how to bounce back better, not bitter, through life experiences and bad decisions. You have a say in the matter. Get up, get busy, get real, and use all of your energy to live the very best life that you deserve, and that you desire. Make sure that you click and like the video. Share the video. Come on, somebody. Share this video right now. Share this video. And subscribe to Dolores Jones TV right here on YouTube. I so appreciate you. Hello to Facebook. Hello to Instagram. Hello to my new subscribers. I really appreciate you. And for those of you that have been going with me strong, you just don't know how much I appreciate you. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it moving. Done. Annie said it's done. She shared it. Thank you, Annie. Anybody else want to share this before I go? This is your hump day. You're in the middle of your week. Now, what you put into action today, you can continue to put into action tomorrow. Whatever's working for you, continue to do that. Adopt what is useful. Reject what is useless. You deserve better, but you're the only one who's going to stand up and do that. You're the only one that's going to demand better. And I want to see you win, because you got it like that. You are a child of the King. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You may feel like you're lost right now, like the prodigal son, but when you come to yourself, and that's why I did this video, I want you to come to yourself and get up and say, you know what? She's right. What am I doing? Thank you, Grant. Last name is Grant. Is it Ayaya? Grant, she shared it. Anybody else want to get some love right now? Now, for those of you, this is a replay. Just hashtag and put a replay in there, and you share it as well. I'm going to shout you out and thank you again in advance. I got work to do just like you. So let's touch base again, maybe a little later this afternoon or so. I just want to check up on you and see what you're doing. Leveling up? Or are you giving excuses? Are you giving it all away? And then you the one sad. You can't eat. You can't sleep. You stress. You're saying things like, they're going to drive me crazy. The power of life and death is in your own tongue. Why would you speak that? I had to tell somebody, baby, if loving you is killing me, you got to go. Somebody said, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. Oh, I got to get right. Because right now, I don't have time to play small. Right now, this is a serious matter. You're not getting any younger. And every day you tolerate foolishness, you're just wasting your time. Wouldn't it be crazy and disappointing that today would be your last day and you haven't lived because you allowed so much of the foolishness in your life? You are strong enough to stand on your own. God did not make any junk. And if anybody told you that he did, they're a lie, or as my grandmother would say, a bald-faced lie. So you tell the devil to go straight back to hell. I said hell. Or go Sophia. Hell no. You want to be my maid? Hell no. What did you say? I said hell no. With a capital H and a capital N. No. Now go get busy. I'm expecting great things from you. You have what it takes. Talk to you soon. Dolores Jones, your comeback coach, signing out, but I'll be looking for you real soon. Take it easy. Have an incredible day. Mwah.